Hi, this is Kamera. My first few minutes with God, day number 196, 2nd Chronicles chapter 28, 2nd Kings chapter 16 through 17. Ahab was 20 years old when he became king of Judah. He reigned 16 years. He did not live a life pleasing to the Lord. He followed the examples of the kings of Israel. He offered sacrifices, burnt incense to pagan shrines. He even sacrificed his own sons in the fire. The Lord allowed Aram, Israel, and Edom to defeat Ahaz. Large numbers of them were exiled. A lot of them were killed in battle. Some of them was captured as hostages. And the crazy part is Israel was the one who had those a number of hostages and large number of kills. God sent prophet Obed to confront Israel about what they had done and how they treated their relative Judah. And for what they had planned for their relatives. Oh, they had some terrible things planned for the women and children. So once Obed spoke to the leaders they spoke to they spoke to the warriors when they did bring in those captives, and they advised them to send those captives back. God was very angry, and we don't need to add to those sins, our already numerous sins. The warriors, they actually obeyed, and they dressed the naked prisoners, they fed them all, and they released them, sending them back to their own people. So you have Aram, Israel, and Edom all against Judah. And so God was trying to humble Ahaz, really. All that had happened, they still did not humble themselves and return to God. So Ahaz, he paid and enlisted the Assyrian king to help them. And so while visiting, this is the crazy part, while visiting the king of Assyria, he took note of their altar. And he had a similar altar built in the land of Judah. Isn't that something, in Jerusalem? And the crazy part about it is he felt that because their God had made them successful, then he would go ahead and worship their God. So he had a replica of their altar built, and he took items from the temple of God and placed them on this altar. And he shut down the temple of the Lord so no one could really worship there. Isn't that something? God was so angry with him. He really was. And so he had, oh my God, this guy, he had shrines placed in all over Judah, in different towns of Judah, and encouraged the people to worship there. Yeah, he was something else. God wasn't pleased with him at all. So let's talk about the king of Judah, Hoshea. Hoshea, king of Israel. He began his reign at the age of, he reigned for 9 years. And he began his reign at 12 years of Ahaz's reign over Judah. He was not pleasing to God. The Assyrians, they had power over Israel. And what Hoshea did was he had hired the king of Egypt to try and shake the hold that Assyria had on him. They paid huge amount in tribute. He needed to break free of that. And so when the Assyrian king found out that he conspired with King So of Egypt, yeah, he captured Hoshea and he placed him in prison. Then he besieged Samaria for 3 years and eventually placed Israel into exile. So God went through all that they had done, all the sin that they had done against God. Israel had been serving idols. God had sent prophets and seers. They're warning them time and time again. Israel refused to turn back to God and to stop worshiping the idols. But they did a lot of other secret sins as well. So God allowed Israel to go into exile. Isn't that something? Crazy part, Assyrian king thought that he did all that on his own, but no, this was all in God's plan. So once they cleared out Israel, what he did was, or Samaria, what he did was the king of Assyria, he sent foreigners into Samaria to settle there. They didn't know how to worship God. And so what God did was he sent lions to kill a lot of them. And so the king of Assyria decided to send one of God's priests back to Samaria to teach them how to worship God. And he did, but they still served their own idols as well. So there's a lot of mess going on. We already know that Judah and Israel had separated generations or centuries, years before. And they had two separate kings under two separate rules. Israel, from the beginning, once they severed themselves from Judah, they never really served God at that point. So God had enough. Now Israel's now in exile, and the only people you have now is from all of Israel is Judah. And Judah is not looking good at this point as well. Like they're serving idols as well. So there you have it, guys. That's day number 196. 2nd Chronicles chapter 28, 2nd Kings chapter 16 and 17. You have a God-filled blessed day.